It's finally over. And on the final day, Jamaica mined two more medals. And we have so much to talk about as far as the 4x4 for the women. They got silver. The 4x1 for the women, they also got silver as we say goodbye to Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. So much to talk about on the Sports Club podcast here at the Jamaica Observer. I'm Donald Oliver. It starts right now. Yes, this is a Sports Club podcast here at the Jamaica Observer. I'm Donald Oliver, and we are grateful, aren't we? Yes, we are. 9th on the medals table, and we got 10 medals in total. So much to celebrate, especially on this final day as we say goodbye to Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce and her participation at the World Championships. To the team here with me as per usual. I'm going to start off with the brilliant Leighton Levy. How are you doing, brother?
I am good. A good day. I mean, there's so much synergy, so much kismet on this final day of the championships. Back in 2007, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce opened her campaign internationally with a silver medal in the 4x1 relay for Jamaica. She was an alternate on anchor. This time, she ran a lead-off, ended her career with a silver medal in the 4x1. This is literally coming full circle. And of course, the performance of the 4x4 women and the Jamaican women, and let me just take the opportunity to say this now. Daniel, you were right. Jamaica had an opportunity to. I didn't think it was going to happen, but the team performed exceptionally well today and just missed out on the gold medal. So kudos to you, Daniel. You are the boss. I was wrong.
Wow, we're going to timestamp that.
Right, following their disagreement yesterday.
Trish, how are you doing? Good to see you again.
Always a pleasure, being here. And what a way for us to have. What job do we have? A great job. A lovely career on our end because we get to, just share our insights and about our athletes. And we sit from a privileged place because they do so well when we have a population of 2.8 million, less than 3 million. And when you look at our athletes against the world, they're right there. Finishing 9th is a major achievement. Maybe just one more or two more gold medals would have been up on the table. But a day that we walk away smiling, for more reasons than one, the medals, of course, being the highlight. But 18 years of watching Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce competing, that's no easy fluke. And I look to see the next man or woman that can do that and do it at the highest level. She wasn't just there competing, donning the national colors. She performed. She hit the podium. She got the times to go with it. The personality, so warm. And I think her post just before the 4x1 finals, she spoke about the wearing of the hair. You can do it all. You don't need to be restricted. And what a way for her to close her career at a major championship.
Wow, wonderfully said. And the man who's smiling from ear to ear because he was right, he's going to say again, Daniel Blake. Daniel, how things?
It was, to me, somewhat of a fitting end to these championships because there is this good feeling that, I think we're all feeling. Seeing our women in the 4x4 executing well, I know that we probably didn't have a great chance against the USA, but seeing how the women executed and getting that silver medal, seeing Shelly essentially hand off the baton, both literally and figuratively, to the next generation of sprinters was so awesome to see, and even though
goosebumps.
It really ended the day despite everything that happened yesterday, and to be honest, throughout the entire championships, you leave feeling great. I don't think we felt like that in Paris, maybe not even Budapest to an extent, but I think we can say that this was a good championships, and knowing that Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, who we've watched for such a long time, end on her own terms and to end with a silver was just amazing.
Yep, storybook ending, and we really appreciate the legacy of Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. We're going to talk about her in a little bit more detail a little bit later on, but for now, we're going to be joining our man on location in Tokyo, Andre Lowe. Andre, just to wrap up the proceedings here as far as Jamaica is concerned with the silver medals in the relays, starting with the women in the 4x4.
Yeah, Donald, welcome back to Tokyo for the final time. That was a really good run by the women in the 4x400 meters final. Of course, an event that Jamaica loves at these championships. That was actually our third straight silver medal in the women's 4x4. And that's not something that was lost on these girls. They all knew what it means to the country. I think Stacey-Ann spoke about growing up and watching all the great Jamaican 4x4 relay teams and saying to herself, she wants to be a part of that. She's, of course, a part of that history. And I think it all meant a lot to them also because none of them actually won individual medals, and it was a chance for them to leave here with some silverware, right? Very good run all around. Oakley, the youngest in the team, she did exceptionally well on that opening leg. Stacey-Ann, of course, continued that good work. And Jeanette, who I had some concerns about, to be honest. I'm not sure what she would bring to this team, but I think she did. She was very strong on the third leg. And Nikisha Price, of course, she held it down. She was never going to catch Sydney, but of course, Femke, as good as she is, she was never going to catch Nikisha as well. So very good closeout leg, silver medal again, and that kind of setup, gave us, of course, our first medal tonight, and it was a very good way, for these ladies to end their championships.
Yeah, and of course, silver for Jamaica in the 4x1s. The margin of victory in the end wasn't huge.
Yeah, Donald, I think, the girls did really, really well. This is a very inexperienced team, right? And I think when you factor in the conditions as well, I think they did exceptionally well to actually get that stick around. And, came very close, came this close to actually winning gold. Really happy that Shelly got a chance to close out her career with another medal, right? And you could see what it meant to her, what it meant to all the ladies, right? Good run all around. Shelly, a blistering start. Tia, who, by the way, she pointed out her third time handing over the baton. So you saw she literally at one point had to hold her sister's hand and get the stick, make sure it's the stick, in her hand. And of course, Tina did very well on her third leg. And Janelle Smith, who was a last-minute addition, she said she had no idea she was going to run in the final. I think most of us would have expected that Shericka Jackson would have run the final. No sort of insight as to what happened. Maybe she's not feeling well, I don't know. But no sort of indication as to why the replacement, the change was made. But all in all, very, very good run by Janelle. Did well to close down on Shakiri. And again, really happy that the team was able to deliver for Shelly and for themselves, a very impressive silver medal.
And of course, you did speak with the Clayton twins right after the race. Let's hear what they had to say.
Another medal, this time with the 4x1. Your thoughts on how that race went?
We couldn't see the rain. Well, no excuse, but we did well. The goal was to come out here and bring the baton around, and we did that, and we got a silver medal, so we are grateful. We couldn't ask for nothing else. The baton went around, and we got a silver medal, so we are grateful. We all finished injury-free.
What can you say about your leg?
Boy, my leg. Once I'm on the track, I'm always going to put my best foot forward. And I did just that, and the rest of the team did their part that they needed to do. So, yeah.
Very interesting exchange between Tia and yourself. Tell us about
that. Joke. Tia actually passing the baton for the first time. It's a little rough thing. She's learning, and she have a lot of more things to, learn and thing. But we're getting there. She will learn more things as we go along. She will soon get the baton passing perfect.
You helped her immensely today, though. You held her hand and put it in. No,
she held
your hand and put it in.
But she will get. She's getting there. We've been practicing, and the practice goes on from here.
All right, Tia, tell us about your leg. Very, very powerful run, of course, on that second leg.
I just came out here to do my best, honestly. I wanted a medal so bad, so I do my best. Unfortunately, I didn't get to make the team. So in the 100, so I came out here and did my very utmost best, and that granted us a silver medal, and we're really grateful for it.
Like your sister pointed out, relays, at this level, of course, not something that you guys have done a lot yet, just yet. In these conditions, how tricky was it for you?
Honestly, this is like my third time passing baton. I always anchor the team, so for me coming out here to pass the baton, it was kind of like a challenge for me because I'm not really used to it as yet. But I think I did pretty great for my third time passing the baton. I think I did pretty great.
Extra special sharing this moment with the sister as well?
Yeah, it's a very special moment, and we hope to go many more years with this moment. When we leave this track and field, we want to leave it with a legacy, the twin turbo, So yeah, we want to leave our name in the good book, and also, just to continue to do good.
Thank you very much.
Well, one more. How significant it is for you to be in that event with Shelly, who is moving on?
It's a great feeling knowing that this is her final lap and she handed over the baton to me. It's a pretty great feeling, and she's always a person that motivates us. So yeah,
Yeah, Tina there at the end speaking about Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce and the fact that she was able to run with her. And now we are at the end of an astounding career for Jamaica's great, Waterhouse's great, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce.
Donald, when you look at the lineup, Shelly passing to Tia to Tina, to Janelle, it was quite symbolic, I think. It's still hard to say right now. It's still too fresh, too soon. But Shelly representing, of course, our past. Literally and figuratively passing the baton to Tia and Tina and Janelle, very much a part of our history. Our rich history, of course, that Shelly has played such a significant role in, right? And we anticipate that these other three ladies will, continue that rich legacy. And they have already started, and we certainly do hope that they will continue on the path that they're on. But all three of them spoke a lot about Shelly's impact on their lives, whether it was direct motivation or encouragement to, indirect inspiration through her performances over the years. She has certainly left her mark on the track and off the track. And I think that's a big part of her legacy that sometimes gets overlooked. It's not just about the medals. It's about the lives that she has inspired, the careers that she has inspired. And it's clear that these three ladies, and I'm sure many others in Jamaica, across the Caribbean, and across the world, have been touched by Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce and their amazing career. So, like I said, very poetic the way it went. Shelly starting, handing off to the younger girls and stuff like that. So, and very happy too, again, that they ended on the podium. So, brilliant stuff from the ladies. And we look forward to the continued development of their careers.
And Andre, before I let you go, just give me an overall assessment of these championships and the fact that Jamaica ended them with 10 medals.
I think 10 is about par. So right about where I would have certainly expected our medal tally to fall. I actually said 11. And certainly there are one or two disappointments, but also one or two surprises, right? I think it was overall a very successful championship for Jamaica. Yes, we got most of the medals that we budgeted for. Some disappointment, of course, in the men's 4x1, I think, as well, in the men's discus. You could look there, and a few other areas, I believe. But I think all in all, those who we had strong expectations for in terms of medals, in most instances, they delivered. And of course, outside of the medals, I think there were a lot of really good performances, personal best, national records, season's best. And coming into our championships, that's really all you ask for an athlete to, give their best. And I think in most cases, these athletes certainly gave their best. You look at someone like Navaski Anderson, for instance. Didn't win a medal, but had an amazing championship. Brought the national record down to 142, right? So, all in all, I think the team did well, the coaches did well. By all accounts, coming from the camp to Tokyo, most of the athletes, if not all the athletes, had really positive things to say. And I think this is a very good platform as we continue to build towards the LA 2028 Olympic Games. Of course, we do have a stop in 2027 at the next World Championships before that. But all in all, I think that the athletes, the coaches can all feel very proud about what they were able to accomplish here in Tokyo.
Thanks, brother. Fantastic work as per usual. Have a safe flight, and I'll see you in a couple of days.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Donald. It has been an absolute pleasure of mine, and thanks to you for helping to bring this vision to light. Right. Thanks to everybody who played a part, who contributed. Everybody in the studio, Leighton, Shoshana, Mr. Optimistic, Daniel. I think you guys are an excellent team. I really enjoyed listening to the commentary, to the analysis, to this, you guys making fun of Daniel and stuff like that. So it was really good stuff. This platform certainly played a big role in helping us to realize our vision, for 360 degrees coverage of these championships should look like. And, I think it's not the last time, this podcast is going to be on air. So we look forward to doing it again. And, I certainly look forward to sharing the space with you guys again. So, yeah, all the best. I'll see you in a few days.
All right, Andre Lowe, our man on location there in Tokyo. And fabulous work as per usual. Let's talk about the relays, and let's start off with the 4x1s for women. And it was close in the end. It really close in the end. And you had insinuated, of course, yesterday that it may not have been that close, but it started out really well on that first leg because Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, and I'm going to be conservative here in saying she kept up with Melissa Jefferson-Wooden.
She did not only kept up, she was actually better than. Dina Asher-Smith had the fastest split at 11:27. Shelly was second, 11:32. Melissa Jefferson, 11:38. So she more than kept up. I had anticipated, which you heard me say on the last podcast, which is why I'm apologizing to Danielle, that I thought Melissa Jefferson would be too good for everybody else on that leg. I'm not trying to find an excuse here, but maybe she felt the fatigue of the 100 and the 200, and of course,
6 rounds.
6 rounds of competition in those legs. But notwithstanding that, the potential issue was Shericka Jackson being withdrawn from the relay squad because of some soreness. Based on what I think we saw in the 200, I think there was something there that needs to be addressed. But Shelly ran really well to give Jamaica a really good start, handed over to Tia, who then ran a brilliant backstretch against an experienced runner in Tisha Terry. The only mistake, I even call it a mistake, there are two issues. Mm-hmm. The handoff between Tia and Tina was not as smooth as they would have liked. Mm-hmm. I think Tia's speed caught her sister by surprise because she actually ran past her and had to wait until Tina got back in front of her to hand off the stick. And the last exchange between Tina and Janita wasn't as smooth either. Mm-hmm. The fact that Jamaica lost by 0.04 seconds tells you how close they came to winning that. Mm-hmm. Because had those two changes been smoother, when you saw how Janita closed on Shakira Richards and she was closing like a train.
Yes.
Had we not lost those precious fractions, Jamaica may very well have ended up with the gold medal. And it's almost, as I said, like Kismet, like it was destined for Shelly not to end up with a gold medal, because silver at the start, silver at the end. It almost seemed like the perfect ending for the Jamaican 4x1 team.
Yeah, please.
First of all, round of applause to the women. When we spoke yesterday regarding the relays, we had, all different views and some similar. And when I said to Daniel just our viewers about the importance of chemistry don't mean me have to like it,
Yeah. Right, yes.
It means that we have an understanding of the job that we want to execute and how we're going to get it done.
Right.
So at the start, Shelly-Ann was brilliant out of the blocks. And I thought that, it maybe shocked others, not to say she isn't good, but at 38 years old, you people have their doubts.
But you can see the fire in her, right? Because she was
Still,
even screaming
yes.
at Tia when she handed over the
Again,
baton.
that's leadership.
Yep.
That's leadership.
Yep.
That's trusting that you're going to get the job done. Go, shouted. Tia got by her sister, Tina, on that exchange. She didn't release the baton.
No.
She held the baton.
And her hand.
And she held the hand
Yeah.
and she
And
placed
put
the
it in
baton.
there.
I want you to have it to go around. Janelle did not panic at the incoming speed of Tina.
Of Tina.
She got the baton. It wasn't how she wanted to be comfortable. That's when we kind of lost the gold, so to speak. Because when you look back at the race, she got the baton. And remember, it would have been wet because of the weather. With cutting her speed to adjust it so that it doesn't fall,
Yeah.
it naturally cut into the foot speed. Sha'Carri now went ahead. Good and almost great finish by Janelle Smith. Nothing new to her.
Yeah.
She's a seasoned campaigner. She did this. She was a part of the team in 2019.
Yeah, when they won gold.
When they won gold. So it's about trusting each other to get the job done. It doesn't need to be perfect, but you have to get the job done, and you can only do so when you have the baton in hand. And again, these women, all four, are women who would have run at the junior level, being a part of relay team. They all are members of the MVP and former member of the MVP track club. And again, they had a purpose other than just going out there in the national colors, wanting Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce to walk away with something.
Yep.
She came and she spoke to them in the heats. She already built that camaraderie with them of, I'm not just a senior veteran in this thing. I'm not just a captain of the Jamaica team. I want us to do it together. And they wanted to do it for her. And I think it worked well.
Danielle, we heard in the interview just now in regards to that chemistry between the sisters, right? And Tina was basically saying that this is the first time, relatively the third time that Tia would have handed over the baton, because she's used to just anchoring. And we saw that at the high school level and at the international level, so to speak, at the lower level. But I saw intelligence in the handing over, which was critical, because there could have been a couple of instances where the baton dropped. The first thing that I saw was Tia on the back stretch, making sure that her hands were dry and the hand was tucked in behind the bib. It's the little things that make the difference, don't you feel?
Yes. I think in this specific instance, the conditions weren't ideal for everyone, but hearing Shelly-Ann tell her teammates, ensure that your hands are dry, because this is not a wooden button. It could get very slippery.
Yes.
And so to tell them that, to see Tina literally tuck her hand away the entire time, and then to think quickly on your feet, because a lot of athletes may have panicked in that situation, but to literally hold her sister's hand to ensure that she got the button, I mean, that's unorthodox, but it worked, and it goes to show not just only their experience, but how quickly they're able to think on their feet, and I think that gave us a huge advantage. It was just unfortunate that the final exchange wasn't as smooth as we'd like, because then we'd be celebrating with a goal. But knowing the type of athletes we went up against, knowing the conditions, and knowing the season that all four had, it's really good to see them coming away with that silver medal, and they should probably even treat it like a gold medal. It's fantastic.
What was good? When Shelly did up the post-race interview, when she said it was nice for her to hand off to the next Jamaican superstars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thought it was really, really good.
Yeah.
I thought
Really
it was
good.
Really, really poignant. Handing over the baton to the next stars. And you can see the Clayton twins are going to be the next stars. They're already arriving, and they're almost through the door now into that level where they'll be competing against the best of the rest of the world. And not just competing, but have the potential to be victors in the best of competitions against the best of athletes.
Why I felt good in that moment as well, especially with Shelly-Ann, when she made that decision following 2024 season in Paris, like, I maybe should. And then her husband, Jason Price, validated that for her, she said, based on the interview she would have done a couple of months ago. And, I love whenever athletes walk away how they choose to and when they choose to. And doing everything on their term is really something we should, never take for granted. Now, when the Clayton twins left Edwin Allen, and we first heard that, they're leaving, they could have gone on for another year. And, they really wanted to train with Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, but she was no longer at the MVP track club. So somewhat they were slightly disappointed. And I think just getting the chance to be a part of it with her, putting that closing chapter to her perfect story, they feel great to be a part of history. Melissa Jefferson Wooden, at the end, she ran over to hug Shelly and she said, I want to be like you. Every athlete came down wanting to hug her like, what you have done, we'll rate it. Yeah. And a lot of times people see athletes and they're competitors, yes. They're rivals based on country and everybody wants to be on top of that podium. But once they cross that line, they have such huge respect. And I think Shelly-Ann Fraser said it in an interview following the final of the women's 100 meters when she spoke specifically about, I think it was Marie Josetalu. And she was saying, our stories are not unique. And that's a bond, that they form because of that as women and as men in the sport. So for me, when she crossed that line and I saw how the twins looked, knowing that they really wanted to train with her initially, like, I want to be like her. I want to train with her and to be, on that relay, being a part of that silver medal. Like, we did the job so that she's not walking away from a major championship empty-handed. We helped her to put a perfect story together in the end.
And hold on, Donald, one thought. Mm-hmm. You realize that Shelly was the first, and up to this point, the only woman to win a triplet at World Championships. She ends her career with Melissa Jefferson joining her in that pantheon, and perhaps will go on to be the next great because of what she's done at these championships. Notwithstanding Juliet Alfred and others, but the example that Shelly set is now taking effect, 12 years later in a championship.
At the end of her career. Yeah. We're gonna be singing Shelly's praises a little bit more, but I want to zone in on Janelle Smith, Danielle, as well as the twins, because Janelle Smith has gone through so much in terms of her injuries and what she had to come back from mentally. And hearing the twins speak as well, I'm so very proud of them. The way how they're able to articulate themselves, they're becoming a brand, and they're becoming, I don't even want to say it out too loud, but I think they are becoming superstars, and they can reach that status in short order. There was just a feel-good vibe about this 4x1 team.
Yeah, and that's why I said, regardless of what has happened before, today ended on a very good note, simply because I feel like we've grown up with all four. We saw Janelle at the Great Wolmers doing what she did at the champs level. We saw the Clayton twins dominate at Edwin and then at the World Under 20. Mm-hmm. And to see them now here today, getting a silver medal on the world stage at a senior championships and doing it with one of, if not the greatest of all time. And, just to see how humble they are, even though they didn't get that goal, it was just like, we were just so happy that we could make our country proud. And I think that's the aim of every young athlete. Obviously, you want to do well for yourself. But seeing the example that Shelly set, as much as she wanted to do it for herself, she always put her country first. And you can see that, Tia and Tina are understanding the importance of wearing that black, green, and gold. Mm-hmm. Janelle, who, as you mentioned, went through all of that, still somewhat disappointed that she didn't get the gold, but, she ended up telling herself, look, I got a silver medal after all I've been through. So it's great to see that these three young women, not just inspired by Shelly, but want to do well for themselves and their country. And to me, that's amazing.
Listen, Janelle had a car accident back in 2020, I think it was, that hurt her in so many ways. She had a back injury that eventually manifested in hamstring issues, in thigh issues. Then she had a shoulder issue, if I remember correctly. she's been battling injuries for the last 4 to 5 years. I remember when she ran 11-0 at the stadium, and I spoke to her.
She
and
broke down.
Yeah.
And she was
Yes.
like, finally, she's able to get, manifest in ways which she always thought she could.
Yeah.
And to see her now, following her success in 2019 as a member of that 4x1, and coming back now after all of those injuries, when she was treated at MVP International, now back in Jamaica in 2022, and coming here and running a brilliant ankle leg, I think it sets the foundation for her to have a really great season next year, because as long as she stays healthy, we've always seen her potential from shows at Woolmers. It's funny enough that the relay started with the Woolmers and ended with Woolmers and 2 in between.
There are so many stories being serious, really.
But for her, I think this is almost like a moment, like a phoenix moment, where she's rising again from the ashes of the injuries that she's been through for the last 4 years. And I think this was a welcome reward for her, for that resilience that she's shown for the last few years.
And I think, similar to her story, similar to that of Tyler Mason, and both I think they share a common denominator in their mothers having the full push behind them. Because you see, when you sustain injury one season, you say, all right, boy, it's unfortunate. But when it happens a second time around, second season, start to question everything. Like, okay, am I doing something wrong? Is this club not fitting? Should I call it quits? And the questions and the questions. And then sometimes they get so close, and then comes the injury, similar to like Megan Tapper, for example, who would have been injured last year, missed the team to Paris. She returned top of the year, middle of the year. She started her season relatively late. Things blooming, looking good. Ran so brilliantly at our national championships. And here you are thinking, yes, I'm back. Things are, the pieces are falling together nicely. And then you're there training, similar to Banji, he said it, Frederick Dakers.
Yeah.
In that moment, while he was training, while in Tokyo, the hamstring, these things, it creates heartbreak within the athletes. And for me to watch a lot of them, and sticking specifically to those 2 or 3, Frederick Dakers, Janelle, Tyler Mason. Frederick did not get on the podium, but Tyler and Janelle to be walking away with medals, considering the injuries they would have sustained over, seasons after seasons. But the common denominator, like I said, for them really continuing isn't just because of the love and wanting to shine, but the encouragement that they receive. The circle needs to be important. The circle is very important, because some people say, true, man, if you give up, man, nobody have no more, because it gets tough. And for both mothers to be, super supportive and push and encourage their children. And here we are sitting and being able to talk about them, contributing to our country's success is really tremendous.
And I think that's why you can't write off athletes. What they go through, we don't know half of. Even what they tell us, they might be going through even more.
A lot more, yeah.
And to see them continue to pursue their dreams and their objectives, we honestly just cannot take that for granted. So even though it might not happen in year 1 of the recovery or year 2, it's going to happen. I remember even 2017, for example, Ricardo Cunningham, no one had expected it at that age. He was virtually 40. A no-name at that time. And to make the World Championships, yes, he didn't medal, but this was a man who was going through years and years of training and setbacks, and he made it. And we know a lot of stories of our athletes over the years who've done very similar. So to see Janelle come back and to get that hope going forward, I think is important, and we should support the athletes in any way possible, because they have the talent. Sometimes they just need a break, which Janelle got.
Yeah, and of course she's knockout champion as well. So this was a good year for her.
Let's talk about the women's 4x4 in particular. Another silver medal there. It was always going to be difficult to get the gold. We agree.
Yeah.
So being the best of the rest feels like a win to me, Leighton.
Absolutely. Look, I had questioned the decision to remove Renisha McGregor from the 4x4. So given how well they ran in the heats and ran the world leading time of 3:22.77. when they brought in Antoinette Knight, I actually was skeptical. But all of them stepped up to the plate big time. They were 3 seconds faster in the final. And had it not been for the ridiculously gifted United States team with Sidney McLaughlin running 47 on her ankle leg, Jamaica may very well have been in contention for the gold. I mean, the US has tremendous depth in the 400 meters. So it's no surprise that they won. But for Jamaica to come out and produce a performance like this, 319.21, I think it was, is a very, 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 very good time. And it just speaks to how well these ladies prepared themselves mentally to approach this. After giving, look, remember, you're going to these championships and a women were in good form, but that form didn't translate into the individual events. And they had an opportunity to redeem themselves by coming together as a relay team and producing a medal level quality, performance. And they did that, and they did that very, very well. The United States won in 3:16, they won by 3 seconds, but nobody expected Jamaica to challenge them. But to come out, produce a world leading time in the heats, and then, of course, producing another fantastic time in the finals. I mean, it's the most incredible performance from these 4 ladies.
Yeah. I think, when you looked at the preliminaries and you wondered, we all agreed, like, they could maybe keep the same 4. And then I was wondering, if they were to not keep that same 4, who would they take out and why? And I think when I watched Antoinette's leg, I saw why. Sometimes you need just a little edge. And I big up David Riley, Coach David Riley, every time, because small details in sports create champions. It creates season's best performances. It also can create personal best performances. Now, when she got that baton, she didn't just stand and wait. She saw that Stacey was incoming, despite being tired. Of course, they know they can't be US. So you have to now separate yourself from the 3rd place or however to stay in the other contention for those 2 medals. And when you looked at how she glanced at Stacey, she didn't go out too fast and she turned around, collected that baton, already putting the split between themselves and Netherlands.
Yeah.
And I think she being able to maintain that, because of course, we never did that chase USA.
No.
Because why would we do that? Respectfully. You have to now concede your hand, I want a medal. The gold medal is clearly out of our reach some way, somehow. And I think once Antoinette, really maintained and, turned over to Nikisha, I was like, this is looking good. Well, I didn't expect, I think, Thank Me Ball to have caught up with Nikisha. Remember, she would have ran the mixed relay. 3 rounds. So that's 3 rounds of the 400 meter hurdles, and she ran on 50 seconds, 50 seconds 51 to win the 4 hurdles final. And then coming back, no, everybody's running in the same condition, the heavy rain. So a lot can be taken out. She wanted to go at Nikisha, and there was nothing.
Yeah, but also the fact that, the last time, remember, she did it to us with Stacey-Ann on anchor.
Yeah.
Nikisha's a much faster runner than Stacey-Ann.
That as well. Yeah.
So that she closed on Stacey-Ann at the time. Stacey-Ann was a 50.5 runner at that time. Nikisha's a 49 this year. Yeah. It was less likely that she was going to be able to catch her.
Yeah, and I think she saw that as well. 48.50 by Nikisha to cross the line and get us that.
That was our split.
Second the fastest behind Sydney.
Yeah.
And to get us that silver medal. And again, attention to small details is really important. And I thought all 4 women ran brilliantly. I have no complaints. Dejoun Oakley.
Dejoun Oakley. She ran a good opening leg as well.
She ran really well. I thought
she did too.
Doesn't her position look? Doesn't her physique, I should say, resembles Merlin Ottey?
Kind of.
in my mind.
Kind of.
No, it's not your mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Daniel, look again. Cause you look for me like. You never look on her.
I can't visibly think of Merlin Ottey's physique right now. I'd probably have to watch a video. It's not something that I keep in my.
I know that. Cool. You understand?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but
fair enough.
But what I will say about
she runs tall like her.
And I think I was very happy for Oakley, especially after what happened in the mixed relays. I think a lot of people may have written her off and thinking that, all right, should we trust her on this? but she ran a brilliant first leg, and I think we ran very, very smart, and I think Stacey set that tone. She saw Herbie Jackson already there. A lot of runners may have thought, all right, let me go try and catch her. But she did what she needed to do. And to be honest, if we had artificial intelligence and we were just to remove the USA, there was a gap between us and the
rest
Netherlands.
of the field, yeah.
So it's not even like it was very close. Femke Bol 49-1-0 on the split. That's not an ordinary split, but Nikisha Price just did so well in that heat. And I think that's one of the reasons why it felt better. It's not like we just got it on the line. There was a significant gap, yes, between us and the USA, but us and the Netherlands. And I think that was a very good executed race from our
In
women.
defense of Dejan's mixed relay performance, I think she explained it afterwards when she spoke to us. She said the occasion probably got to her. This was the biggest stage on which she's ever performed.
Yeah.
For the very first time.
And I love that honesty from her as well.
And I think the nerves just got to her. But as the competition went on, she became more comfortable in the space. And I think you saw the best of her in this moment in the 4x4 relay.
But you all saw Sydney looking up like she tired? I'm like, Sydney just run the race. You know what they say? You saw her late?
Yeah, listen, 47-7.
I think she was glad that she actually got the lead. And
Without
she was
having
just
to
able
overexert?
I think she was
Yeah,
glad.
then what if she had to overexert?
She'd have to do it, but it would be interesting to see her under pressure for the first time. Like that.
46 should have run?
They're on 46.
If not 45.
No, she's just so brilliant.
No,
And
listen, man.
I'm intrigued. I'm really intrigued.
I
That's
am
all.
every single time she steps on our track. I mean, and I have to apologize, Sydney, if you're seeing this. I apologize for underestimating your capabilities in the flat 400. I will never do so again. Because the things that this young woman continues to do defies logic. Because most athletes here are good at one or two events. She's good at everything she's ever tried.
Yeah.
See, which is one of the reasons why I asked her here when she came for Grand Slam track, what does she think her limits are? And she said she doesn't know. And based on the evidence of what we've seen from her,
She was right.
she was dead right.
And when they interviewed her following that championship record in the women's 400, like, okay, are you going to stick with the 400, for the next couple of seasons? She's like, let's wait and see.
Yeah,
so
and then-
she's already looking, in my opinion, maybe thinking of, do I continue with the 400 meters for another season, or do I take on a new challenge?
Yeah, because the guy, one of the reporters asked her, do you take on the 800 next? And she goes, no comment. Which means that she's thinking about it.
Look at that downstairs.
Right?
That I'll go see how the people around.
So here's what I think is going to go. She's going to come out next year, prepare, break the world record in the 400, and then sit with Bob Kersey and say, hey, let's try the 800 for a season or two. And
Not
see
the
what happens.
200 meters, but the 8?
I think the 8, because I don't think the 200 that shot. The first time she runs the event, she runs 22.0. I think she's probably thinking, no, we've been there, done that. Let's try the 8.
No, I think she probably won't go under 22 seconds if I'm to be. If she was supposed to push herself, she'd want to see how fast
she
she'd
knows
go in
this.
it. And it could be a one-off race. It doesn't have to be something
Yeah,
that
but
she delves
I'm
in.
thinking
But
that she honestly is thinking about the challenge of the 800, because then the 200 she knows she's capable.
Yeah.
For the 800, she's probably saying, I wonder
if.
I wonder
Because
if.
remember, she travels well, She
Yeah.
travels very well. When you look at her, her leg speed is deceiving.
Yeah, she's very efficient as a performer. She doesn't waste energy. Everything for her is linear. It's going in the same direction. Her arms move in the same way as her legs move. She's almost like a robot in the way she
I'm
runs.
not even looking at that. I'm wondering how big her heart is or her lungs.
Yeah, but
No, like seriously.
They're
I'd love to know.
She's secretariat in human form.
That's exactly.
movie, that's a good one. That's a
Yeah,
good one.
you're right.
Listen,
She's
think
gonna,
about this.
she's gonna live longer though.
Think about this.
Obviously.
Think about this. Sidney McLaughlin right now is capable of running a first 400 in 49 or 48 seconds. If she's to tour the 800, she has enough strength and speed endurance to come back in 52.
Yeah.
That's 151,
So you don't think she will go back to
More-
the 400 meter hurdles?
She's been there.
Probably
done
her
that.
last race.
She's broken the world record. What?
I know.
4 times or 5 times already.
They're about. I lost count after the third
Yeah,
time.
you can't lose
You know,
count.
it's just true. I just love that.
She's gone 51. She's gone 51 low. She's gone 50 high.
Maybe try
She's
to-
gone 50.3. Yeah, so she's been there, done that. I mean, she might want to take it to 49 and make it forever impregnable. But the reality is that I'm thinking that she's probably thinking, I can split 48 and come back in 53 and break the world record that has stood since 1985 or 83.
That's crazy.
And run 151. It's not out of the realm of possibility given what we know she's capable of. I remember now, she has strength to run 50.3 over 400-meter hurdles. Strength and speed endurance to run 47.7 over 400. And split a 400 leg in 47 on a relay. Why would she not want to take on the 800?
But you know something? And, as the only woman sitting here, I will choose not choosing my words carefully. Sydney's performances are really top-notch when you think about it in the context of the sport. And I think because she's a woman, one, and she's a quiet storm, nobody say, oh, the sport needs her, in comparison to how, Noah talk and he backs his talk. But Sydney, I'm going to do this event. And when she's asked, do you think, you can break the record, you can win? She's back. She never once shut it down. She said, let's see.
She's a rare athlete who shifts paradigms.
But again, because
That's
I
what
think
she
because
does.
of her personality, you don't hear, oh, the sport needs a Sydney. She's great for the sport, competition-wise, but you and I know how sports is. She's not
Flashy.
going, I'm going to
she's
do
more
this.
the athlete that speaks with her performance rather than the personality, because she's quiet. You can see that she's a very well-reserved person who she's not going to go out there and try to be something that she's not. So what she does is that she goes out and drops these incredible performances, which only appeal to the purists like myself, like Trishana, like Daniel. But she won't appeal to the broader fan base who are looking for some ratchet kind of behavior. That's not who she is. And because she's heavily based in her Christian faith, she won't get the accolades and the recognition that other athletes get.
And I wish it wasn't like that, but I understand, because that's what sports is entertainment as well.
Yeah, but I'm entertained.
I think track and field is a little bit different, because if we look at, not to bring in another sport, but Lionel Messi we regard as the greatest of all time. He's not that flashy showboat type of person. His performances speak for itself. And I think that maybe this is probably the downside of the Bolt era, is that people felt that you had to be this for us to watch you, rather than your actual performances on the track. Now, I think both has to be paired, because we've seen athletes who've had that personality and not had the performance, maybe like Ryan Bailey, no disrespect to him, but he had a lot of bark, but he didn't perform. So now you even heard Noah saying to Tebogo, go out there and showboat and whatever, because that's what people want to see. If Tebogo runs 19-1-0, that's to me what people should want to see.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's not the case.
Yeah, so I don't think Sydney should change for anything.
Absolutely, I think
we should appreciate the fact that she is not just, a goat in her event, but one of the goats in track and field in general.
I think she is.
And appreciate what she's doing.
And which is why, I brought up the topic regarding her and, what she would have done, similar to Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. And tell people that Usain wasn't in no talking. He just did his press conferences and went about his business. But
the thing about Bolt is that Bolt has a natural charisma about him. A lot of these athletes now who are trying to emulate Bolt, it feels contrived.
Yeah.
So Bolt had this thing. I mean, even when you meet Usain off the track, he's an interestingly insane person. He's funny.
How he shakes your hand, how he acknowledges you, like, yo, what go on?
Yeah, he's very, who he is, what you saw with Usain on the track is what brought people to him. He's a real nice person. And it comes out in competition because that's who he is. He's having a good time. And he's exhibiting that on the track. Some of these other behaviors, though, you can feel like they're trying their best to be something that they're not. Yeah. And that's the unfortunate thing, because in the age of social media, people expect it to be like a Shakira Richardson, which not everybody's like that, unfortunately.
Yeah. Let's talk about the men's 4x4. Daniel finishing 7th in in a brilliant race that saw Botswana beat the USA for gold. But talk to me first about how our boys did in that final.
We were just out of it. I think with that first leg from Kennedy, it wasn't very impressive. But I think after that, each of our runners, Powell, Dennis, and even Rasheen, they were trying their best to catch up to the field, and I think that didn't work out for them. Being in that mix, there was at one point 4th to 7th, they were all in this one line trying to hustle and bustle. There was a point where I think Javon Powell tried to drift over to lane 3 or lane 4 to try to get himself
because he was
room.
blocked in. He was blocked in on the inside.
So I think it was just an overall, from that first leg, it was just doomed from there. We didn't get under any 45 split. So it was just a very off day.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I think with the men's 4x4, again, we can't just be sending out teams for sending out teams' sake. There are some teams that requires a little bit more nursing than some. And when I say nursing, people sometimes equate success.
No, they say nursing like our babies.
Well, no, because why I say that, let me tell you, you have to be strategic to achieve something. And again, success isn't just about winning. We equate it to that because it's sports. But success for Donald looks different for success for Leighton. Likewise for myself and Daniel as we sit here. No, I would have preferred either one of two men to start that relay. Either you're going to use Rasheen McDonald, because he's very quick out of the blocks. And you need to get that start. Because we now have the men, but we are challenged for no medal. And that way I look about. But we would have wanted to maybe finish higher than we did. So Rasheen is quick out of the blocks. Then you could have used for me Javon Powell. Because when you look at the leg speed for these men, in the individual 400 meters, they will give you a low 44. Rasheen on a good day might surprise you in a relay and give you 43. Sending the inexperienced youngster to start that relay was a no for me. Why is he inexperienced? Oakley, for example, left Clarendon College. She went overseas to university.
Oh, Georgia.
And then she transferred to Texas and transferred now to Georgia. Right? So she's no stranger to running a relay and what the demands are at the NCAA stage. Now, Kennedy left Edwin Allen and he has been injured. His first good season is this one. So he's inexperienced.
And you put him under
pressure.
pressure.
You put him under pressure to start that relay. That was a no for me. So for me, if you're going to make some switch around, I know win them, I go out there for winning now, but you want them to place better than they really did. Because I think the team would have likely done better had Rasheen maybe been in the middle of that field or had he started, because then you would have been separating yourself. Remember, our women separated themselves, because of the start Oakley got. Then Stacey traveled nicely to separate herself. Then she turned it over and Nikisha finished the job. So again, you have to be strategic and nurse so that you can achieve greater than some of the results that you...
Because Javon got blocked in one, and then because he got the button down the track. And then the two ankle legs run 46 splits.
Yeah.
In the heats, they ran 2:59. They ran 3:03. That's what, 4 seconds slower.
Slower.
That means strategically, the team may not have been structured properly. And then you put, as Trishana said, you put the youngster under undue pressure to start that really. Because the key thing for a 4x4, as Trishana alluded to a while ago, is getting a good start. If you're trying to come back from behind, you put the rest of your teammates under tremendous pressure to get back into the race.
Especially at these World Championships and Olympic Games.
So the structure for me, I agreed with Trishan, it was not the best one to put out there. But and it came out in the fact that we were 4 seconds slower in the final. It just didn't make sense because you can't use the rain as an excuse. Javon said it afterwards that rain was not a problem. He got blocked in primarily because after the first leg, he didn't have much option. He was all going to be blocked in because he's behind. And if you end up in the pack then you're having to find your way to go out on the outside to come around. It means you're running a longer distance.
Yes.
So you're going to have problems, you know. So
So sometimes there's a little bit of nursing and thought process and weighing the option, because you already know the possibility or the probability of you winning to maybe finishing fifth. And if you finish fifth, you finish higher than seventh, you know.
So,
Because seventh, then you're to last.
So let's touch this quickly in regards to Botswana winning that gold medal ahead of the
happiest
USA.
man in the world. Listen, the Botswanans, and I have to punch myself in the mouth because
We can do it
for
afterwards.
some
it's fine.
reason I overlooked them for my picks. I don't understand why that happened. Maybe a momentary brain freeze that didn't, you know, but
That lasted for a little bit more than
yeah,
a
a
moment.
lot longer than it should have had.
Right.
But the reality is that they look at the fact that they had 3 men in the 400-meter finals, and you have Leslie Tobogo, who's a 2-4 runner, who runs on their 4x4 team regularly.
Yeah.
The emergence, remember, Isaac Makwala was the leader of this squad 3 years ago. And he has left this team now much better than when he found them. And when you look at the Shippy, did I pronounce his name right? No, Endori, and the and, you know, just the quality and the depth that they have on that squad. They're youngsters, you know, they're still very young. And when you look at what this team was able to put together, the timing of the run on the ankle leg was perfect.
Oh my gosh.
Ray Benjamin had the lead, thought he had gotten away from the field. And with 20, 30 meters ago,
The surge of South Africa
they made their move.
even
And
pushed
tell you
him.
what,
Like, you have to move now.
if Nene was a little bit closer, the US may very well have ended up third. That's how good the Africans are. And it speaks again to the resurgence of African talent finally coming to the fore. Because the talent is where we got it from. West Africa, Ghana, the Ivory Coast, Nigeria. That's where the Jamaican DNA comes from. And to see the Africans now coming back into the fore in a big way is very encouraging indeed for the rest of the African nations who have intentions of becoming, elite
Superpowers.
athletes. Yeah, in the
I
sport.
think following his performance at the Olympic Games last year, was it that time they had the big excitement in Botswana for Tobago?
Yeah,
Right.
Tobago, yeah.
And you saw the stadium, and immediately, I think I even tweeted it, I saw Nation inspired. And when I tell people again, when you look at where we are, and looking at our African nation, South Africa, Wade van Niekerk really helped them to that bronze medal. And again, maybe I need time that's even a little better, moved quicker. He would have gotten by Benjamin and the US to get that silver. But when you walk away and you're hitting the podium, it's really good. And whenever the other nations, whether it be the African nations for me or the Caribbean regions, who become inspired by performances, I get really excited and I'm like, oh my gosh, no, I can't wait to see how the others will start to blossom and become intrigued by and inspired by those performances.
You want it to remind me of 2015 when Makarori had the lead and Nobly Williams just tucked in behind her, drafted off of her and said, okay, let me wait on you to start to flail. And as soon as her arm started to go, you remember? And Nobly just went on the outside and took the win. That was what came back to me when I saw that relay this morning. It was a fantastic performance.
And what was more impressive about this performance was the USA made those changes. The only changes that Botswana could make was bringing in the World Championship before that last leg. For Tobago in that second leg to run, I think, 44.05. To me, that was impressive. Having Rai Benjamin, Norwood, and those guys having more rest than they did to come out and finish how they finished. I think that going forward, the USA might be a little worried when it comes to this, because you think about even using Tobago as an example to run 5 rounds of sprints and coming back to run 44.05. You're almost thinking like, what if him did just focus on the 400 alone, right? And I think that Botswana going forward, and give credit to South Africa as well, because they were just pipped on by, I think I was, what was it, 1,000th of a second or something like that.
Because they closed right down on the line.
Yeah, so I think going forward, the USA are going to think, all right, maybe we aren't as dominant as we thought we were in the 400, because the Africans are coming for us.
And I think for the US this year, the men in that event, the men in the 400 meters, I think, disappointed badly. So I'm not surprised about having to reel in Rai Benjamin as well for that. Because who they had in the final of the men's 400 meters.
Jacori Patterson.
One competitor. Usually
and they were missing Quincy Hall this year.
Exactly.
Yeah, Quincy Hall was injured.
Chris Bailey, who started out like a house on fire this season, he has faded so badly. Again, that's okay for them to crumble and others capitalize. But I'm just saying, when you look at the rest of the world and look at what they were working with coming in, you could not even be completely surprised about Botswana and even South Africa's performance being so close to them. But what I will say is, coming back again regarding nursing a team when you're sending it out, you have to be strategic about what your objectives are and how are you going to likely put yourself to achieve that. Tobago, Wade Van Niekerk, they weren't just placed on the team just because, they were strategically placed on legs to help them, possibly challenge for medals, and they were both successful.
With Chris Bailey, for example, I just thought he had too many races with him this season.
Well,
he ran indoors. He ran on the circuit, heavily on the circuit. And I think he paid
Grand
the price.
Slam.
Yeah, and Grand Slam tracks.
All right, we're going to wrap up the discussion in short order, but at the end of the day, Jamaica has 10 medals. Daniel, I'm going to start out with you because it was somewhere in the middle in terms of your practicality and your optimism. But overall, Jamaica's performances in Tokyo.
I think it was a good showing. We did what we should have in the men's 100, getting that 1-2. I think we were all pleasantly surprised with the men's 110 meter hurdles getting that 2-3. Tajay Gale in the long jump was also a very welcomed silver, knowing all that he has been through. Yes, we may not have gotten, the men's 4x1. Maybe, some people thought that Ralford Mullings was a booking to get that medal there. But I think overall, to finish with 10 medals, I think is pretty good. Now, some people might say some of the colors should have been different, maybe adding a more silver, 1 or 2 more gold medals. But I think compared to the Paris feeling, I think that Jamaicans should be very happy with 10 medals.
Yeah, I think we've had, what is 12? The biggest haul we've ever had at the World Championships?
I think 13.
Maybe 13, so obviously not too far off from, those numbers, Trish.
Yeah, not far off. I initially calculated 12 medals coming in, but I knew it would not have surpassed the 12. So I'd had it at 12 and in and around there. But I of course, didn't see us, getting past the 12. Took some major championship. You naturally have to prepare for hits and misses. And we had some misses. And I think, especially in the women's sprint hurdles, 4 competitors going in, 3 were capable of getting onto the podium. While it's always a gamble, with the sprint hurdles, you still, based on the talent pool that we would have had, disappointed in that. The men's discus throw, I had a terrible, terrible headache yesterday because of it. And for me, Mullins not getting to the final, but it wasn't that, because again, things happen inside the sector, but the distances throughout his series. 56, again, we move. The highlight for me from this championship, it's the changing of the guard throughout various events. And I leave smiling. And whether they were on the podium or being semi-finalists, I'm happy. Adrian Carr, Christopher Taylor, again, these young men are not yet 27 years old. 2 personal best in the men's 200 meters. Something to build on. Brian Lavelle, 21 years old, 19.6 for a bronze medal. When you look at Akeelia Smith, finally finished with university, can now fully, first year as a pro. got to the final of the triple jump women. Shanika Ricketts at 33 years old, she can decide at any point in time, like, I've had enough. Maybe we'll want to go 2 more years, we don't know. But again, we are seeing a youngster following in the footsteps of her and Kimberly Williams. I'm really happy about that. The men's 100 meters, I think, Akeem again need to do some work, really need to do some work. More 200 meters, I think will help. Some more core work. Kishane, still young. Oblique Seville, still young. Both got onto the podium finally at the World Championships, so oblique. So for me, again, when you look at everything, the entire picture for Team Jamaica, this World Championships, despite walking away with only 10 and 1 gold medal, we are walking away, greater, I think, as we look to the future of track and field for the next 2 major championship cycle.
Leighton?
Look, I said 6 to 10. And I think with some of the medals I expected didn't happen, but we picked up medals where we didn't expect. I thought, as Trisha alluded to, it's a true changing of the guard now. Oblique Seville, after 4 disappointments in a row, finally delivered. Kishane Thompson continues to improve. Tyler Mason and Orlando Bennett, really emotional about those 2 performances. And I was, and when you look at what has happened across the board, I just thought this was a really good, especially coming out of what happened in Paris last year. This was a significant improvement upon that. And the improvement didn't necessarily have to manifest in terms of gold medals, but in terms of medals, just medals themselves. And I thought that this is an indication of what to expect in the future. The Clayton twins have arrived. Now they're going to improve. Brian Lavelle has arrived. He has no room to improve. So I'm very excited about the immediate future of this team that we're looking at. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce walks away with her chest held high. Sherika Jackson will probably now become the mentor of this team. And I think Rashford Mullings will find redemption eventually.
Yeah.
When he finishes his degree in industrial and system engineering, every time I think about it, and the nature of the study and what he's had to sacrifice to become a world-class thrower. And he'll be good too. So it's a very encouraging performance from Jamaica. 1 gold is, I think in my estimation, I think we probably had the best option of 2 gold medals. And I thought one of them was a 4x1 men, potential for that. So I'm not dissatisfied with the color of the medals, but I'm very pleased with the 10 medals overall, because I think it indicates that Jamaica is on its way to another strong era in track and field.
We're going to close off shortly, but of course, we got to speak about Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce and what she has done for track and field on this rock, as well as far as affecting world athletics. Daniel, I'm going to start off with you. In a word, astounding.
And I think that doesn't even describe what she's done for the sport. To know that back in 07, her career just started in 08, people were advocating for her to come off the women's 100-meter team, and then to see what she went on to achieve. And even after 2016, people were saying there's a change of the guard after she had lost to Elaine and she got that bronze. But to come back from giving birth and then to win more world championship titles and to reach a point where she became even faster than she was before, now becoming a 10-6 runner and just to be competitive. And I think her story is not just only one of perseverance, but one of hope. I think that's something that she gives to not just her compatriots in the field, but to literally everybody, both genders. When you see Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce run, even when she's disappointed, there's a huge smile on her face because she feels like everything is a lesson. Everything is, geared towards becoming better. And for her to end the way she did is just amazing. We can't thank her enough for all the joys that she's given us on the track for almost 20 years. And, our hope is that, she sticks around in whatever capacity. But she goes down to me as the greatest sprinter of all time. Whether people want to debate that or not is up to them. But I think she has done enough for people to say that her legacy is more than cemented.
Yeah, I guess it can't be debated as to whether she's the greatest sprinter of all time or undisputed fact that she's the greatest 100-meter female sprinter of all time. So that can also be debated, I suppose, but that's for you guys to. Trish, talk to me about Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce.
Absolutely no words. Thank you is never enough. Greatest of all time, just sounding so cliche because of her longevity, but we can use it. And this, when she decided that she's going to make this season her final, I was like, oh my gosh, I wish Hubert Lawrence was alive. He adored her for her professionalism towards the sport. The minute she saw that, I think people don't understand the taste of success, what it does. That silver medal in 2007, gave her a whole different outlook towards the sport. And she took that to the national championships in 2008, and the rest is history. And for her to be a part of so many generations and remain dominant and a force to reckon with in 2016 with that injury to the toe. And, she could have really not competed because that toe injury is something very serious. Sanya Richards-Ross ended her career because of that. It's really because the power that is required, especially for a sprinter. And, that year she got bronze, and I'm like, wow, what more can she produce? When she had Zion, I remember she said at a press conference, and I'll never forget, she said, this will be the greatest comeback ever.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, my love how Shelly hype up herself.
Hype we up too.
She hype we up and I say, yeah man, a them talk, you have to make a them talk. You see it and I say, Shelly, you have to talk,
Yes.
But then I was like, I hope she will be able to back it up and be, backing that up for me, gold medal. That would be, others people's view. But maybe for her getting on the podium, she went on and she won. That moment, I was like, oh my gosh, like she did it. Like, we're watching her, like evolving again in front of us after giving birth. And for me, my respect went absolutely through the roof at that time. Because for her to have made the statement top of the year, she got to the moment where I should now deliver. And she handles the pressure so well. She handles the pressure so well because it's a lot of pressure, being at that line with the world awaiting what you will do after winning more than once and more than twice. What else will she do? And, she surpassed many expectations. When she ran 10.6, she was about, what, 36 years old. People maybe thought, when she said, I wanted to run 10.6, what was your new motivation? Why you keep going? No, at 35, 36, we keep you going. Because you say you're going to have the most epic comeback. You did that. And she said, I want to run 10.5 or 10.6. And people are like, she's too old for that. Guess what she did?
Run it.
I ran it 7 times in one season.
Yes. How many times in one season? So for me, her career, again, like I said, lost for words. But what I'm happy about, and I have said it repeatedly, we have had front row seat to watching all of it unfold in front of us. Nobody never have to tell we. We witness it over and over. And when she said, I did not, 2024 Paris would have maybe been the end of my career. I didn't get to do it my way. I wanted to come back and do it my way. Many said, oh, she's too old. She will likely not make that team because Jamaica full of superstars. She finished third. She ran an individual event at 38 years old in a final and she never come last. Like, I don't think we are fully understanding what this woman has produced for 18 years. And I hope that, when we sit and, because she has gotten the medals, people say, thank you, yes, she go on with herself. It's deeper than that. Sacrificing so much. And I've said it like, boy, thank you just seem very small, but thank you.
Yeah. The poverty of language is such that there are no words to describe Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. There are no superlatives that you can use that will be adequate to describe the career that we just saw come to a conclusion in Tokyo, Japan. I've talked ad nauseum about her record, the things that she's done first, only woman to do those things. But to encapsulate that career, anybody who debates whether or not she's the greatest of all time is delusional, because she is the greatest of all time. Hubert and I had this conversation many times, and we talked about whether or not her 200 record would diminish what she accomplished. But here's the thing. As a 100-meter sprinter, primary 100 sprinter, winning 2 Olympic gold medals in her first Olympic Games, becoming the only woman to win 4 medals in the 100 meters Olympic Games, consecutive Olympic Games. 5 world championship titles in the 100 meters, 1 200-meter title, an Olympic silver in the 200, 21.79 over 200 at her personal best. I mean, world indoor title at 60 meters. What else is there? What else could she have done other than set the world record? And the world record, as we all know, to me certainly, is under a cloud and will remain under a cloud. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce has done everything humanly possible that could have been accomplished as an athlete, as a sprinter. There is no doubt in my mind she's the greatest of all time. And that added to what she's done off the track with her foundation, all the different things that she's done for her community to uplift the kids in her community, to uplift less fortunate kids going to high school, to uplift a country, and to uplift many, many people across the world who see her as an example of resilience, commitment, discipline. What else is there to say? I mean, again, that's it, the poverty of language. Yeah. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce to me is the ultimate athlete. And I think Jamaica is fortunate that we had the experience of embracing her and having her as one of our own. I remember when I came back to Jamaica in 2008, I went to interview Sharon Simpson at MVP training one morning. I didn't know who Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce was. I saw her win at champs. But, so many people win at champs, you think, okay, here's another one. And I remember the morning when Sharon said to me, after we finished the interview, she said to me, you should look out for that girl, Shelly-Ann Fraser. And I'm like, okay, sure. And then I came back one morning to interview Khalees Spencer and saw Shelly destroying everybody out of the blocks. And I'm like, And I started to pay attention. Then comes the national championships. And this little girl running down Karen Stewart, finishing second in 10.82, and people were saying, oh, let's take her out and put in Veronica Campbell-Brown. Can you imagine if the J3s had yielded to those calls? We would have been denied this opportunity to see this greatness that has come from out of Waterhouse and through Wolmer's. Can you imagine that what we would have lost had that happened based on what people wanted to do back in 2008? So I'm grateful. Yeah. I'm grateful to have a front row seat to what has been an extraordinary career, a career that exemplifies what is possible within this nation of ours, this very great nation of ours. A friend of mine once said a few years ago, when I was going to class, more than a few years ago, that he believed that Jamaica was in the Bible and those pages were torn out and lost because we are the example of what a great nation is, punching above our weight in so many different areas of our culture and of our people. And Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce encapsulates all of that.
Well, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce was punching up above her weight as well as her height. And the fact that we're able to just observe her these 18 years, we were in a privileged position. I grew up in a time when I was just observing Merle Notty and Juliet Cuthbert and what they did over the years at the World Championships, at the Olympics, right? But they wouldn't have been under the glare that Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce has been since the start of her career. Of course, you have to mention Veronica Campbell-Brown and what she did in just laying down that platform even more for Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce to come about. As you heard Leighton said in regards to those national championships, there were calls for Shelly to come out of that team to Beijing in 2008 and for us to put in the legend in Veronica Campbell-Brown in. And I'm glad that wasn't done, with all due respect to what Veronica did, because she was outstanding as well. But the fact that we're able to see what Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce did from start to finish, it's a blessing. It has been an experience. And all we can say to her is thank you, because she has been the quintessential example, not just for the girls coming up, but for us who try to take on life the best as we possibly can each and every day. And the fact that we could literally see the transition in her final race as she handed off the baton to the twins, Tia and then Tina, it says a lot, because even though she didn't ask, she was put on that pedestal strictly because of her performances throughout the years. And again, she did so well in bearing that responsibility, becoming that ambassador for all of us. And a grateful nation says thank you. And we would like to thank you for joining us here at the Sports Club podcast at the Jamaica Observer. Leighton, Trish, Daniel, it's a pleasure. You guys, this is the A-team. And we'll be working together in the future, I'm sure. Daniel, right? You're looking forward to that, aren't you? Of course you are. Come on.
No words. No words.
Trish, always a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Leighton.
Look, we go back a long way, Donald, way back.
Yeah.
In fact, almost as long as Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. Yeah, but it's always a pleasure working with you, and this was another great experience as well. So thank you again for getting me involved with this.
No problem. Of course, powered by Jane Bank. On behalf of the hardworking team behind the scenes, it's goodbye from the Jamaica Observer. We'll see you soon.